Yo guys, what's up? It's me gaming too, and without further ado, it's been a long time coming. Probably almost 2 weeks. And you may be wondering why I haven't reviewed a Freddy film in almost 2 weeks since I have to review all of them by the end of the month. Well, depending on how my schedule goes, we are at least getting up to Freddy's Dead. We're going to see. We are probably going to do New Nightmare Freddy versus Jason in the remake, but if I can only get up to Freddy's Dead this year, that'll be it. Because next month, because of what's happening next month on the 13th, I'm going to be reviewing all of the Friday the 13th films next month in November. This month, October, is going to be Nightmare on Elm Street series, though. And, yeah, let's talk about that later because today we are going to be talking about the fourth film in the series, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, which is widely considered to be when the series jumped the shark. A lot of people consider this one to be kind of in the middle to low tier of the series. A lot of people, I've heard some people like this film, but I would say a large majority of them kind of don't. And what are my thoughts on A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 The Dream Master? I thought it was another really good Nightmare on Elm Street film. There, I said it. Might be an unpopular opinion, but it might actually be one of my only unpopular opinions in this series, but I thought A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was a really good movie. Is it as good as the original or Dream Warriors? Hell no. No, it's not as good as those two movies. Those are damn near perfect movies. But for what we got with this film, I thought it was a really fun time. So I'm going to start with the negatives, and there are definitely a couple of negatives. I think the biggest negative of this film is the fact that I really wasn't a big fan of the kills in this film. I think this film has, next to Freddy's Dead, probably the weakest kills in the entire series. They either are basic or there's one kill in this movie I kind of like. That's the kill where Freddy turns the girl into a cockroach and he smashes her in the Roach Motel. But besides that, this film does not have very good kills. Pretty much all the rest of them are very basic or just really boring. That's by far the biggest negative. And I really only have one or two more negatives. My next negative is that the film feels very, very long. I think it is one of the longest Nightmare on Elm Street films. I think it's either 99 or 100 minutes. But, really, honestly, sometimes I feel like this film is way too long for a Nightmare on Elm Street film. And there are some other films that are, or I think there's one more Elm Street film that's longer than this. But even that film felt shorter than this. This film can drag pretty badly at times. And I think one last negative is the entire cast is not likable. The specific ones I didn't like are Um, besides Alice and Dan, pretty much all the new characters in this film that weren't in Dream Warriors, I wasn't a big fan of in this film. However, there are way more positives than negatives, in my personal opinion, with this film. Alright, I'm probably going to get tortured for saying this. I liked Freddy in this film. I thought Freddy was way more jokative than he was in the previous three films. especially the first two. But he was still threatening. It's not like I wouldn't say he was scary as much as he was threatening in this film. He was still a threat to the cast that I think they couldn't really fight him off in this film. And you'll hear in the next two reviews that I don't think Freddy's that threatening at all, especially in a certain film we're going to review one review after this. It'll be after The Dream Child, but I don't really have anything nice to say about that film, but you'll see that later, probably Saturday. Um anyways, this film really, I think it did Freddy right. He's not as good as he was, I think, in any of the previous three films. I love Freddy more in all of the other films, but I still felt he was done right in this film. I felt like he was just good enough and just enough to where he wasn't really a clown to me. He was still Freddy Krueger to me. This is the last film until Wes Craven's New Nightmare that I feel that. Um Another big positive for this film, I have to say, while I didn't like the kills, the dream sequences themselves were pretty damn good. I love the atmosphere of the dreams, even though the kills are not as good. One big example is, I think it's Ricky, I think his name. It's Alice's brother. This is a perfect example. The kill itself, I find really boring. The atmosphere and like the whole set of the kill, I think it's freaking gorgeous looking. I love the way the dreams look themselves. And every single dream Freddy appears in is just, it's really good in this film. I find it really good. And another positive I have for this film is, again, all the characters returning from the previous films and Alice and Dan. I think Tuesday Night, while not as good as Patricia Arquette, is a good Kristen. Not phenomenal, but she did what she had to do. For like the 10 minutes he is in the film, I fucking love Kincaid. Kincaid is probably, might be my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street protagonist. Like, he is so freaking funny and awesome. And Joey's back and he's cool too. And I also like Alice and Dan. I feel like they're the only two new characters in this movie that I found good. They have enough about them that makes them really enjoyable. I feel like one of the two characters kind of goes downhill in the next film, while one of them kind of goes a little uphill and gets better. But you'll find out in the Dream Child review. But yeah. I'm going to go back actually to what I said about the dreams. One of these isn't a kill, but it's probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. It's the scene where Alice gets pulled into the movie theater screen and then she goes to like her diner, but it's like really old and rotted. And then Freddy comes and orders a freaking soul pizza and freaking stabs the living shit out of the meatballs, he calls them, and he just eats it, and it's so freaking awesome. Sorry about that, guys. Um, and it's just so freaking wacky. I can't believe it. I love it. It's one of the best scenes in the entire. It probably is my favorite scene of The Dream Master. And that's about all I have to say for the Dream Master. I found this film really good. I wasn't especially a fan of the kills and the new characters, but a couple of the new characters and the returning characters and Freddy and the dreams themselves I found to be really good. So that's why I'm going to give Nightmare on Elm Street 4 The Dream Master a B+. Yes, you'll probably never ever hear somebody give this film at least a B+, but I found this film really good. It was really entertaining, and it's honestly probably behind three films. It's my favorite film in the franchise. Only the original Dream Warriors and Wes Craven's New Nightmare is better. And you'll see Wes Craven's New Nightmare probably sometime next week. I think I am getting all of them out, but it's not a guarantee because of my schedule. But tomorrow, actually, you're going to see my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, which I'm not quite as big of a fan of as the previous films, but you'll see where that lands. Anyways, Gaming 2 here. See you later. Bye.